Is there a dog in a car at a bar on the street? Yay! Then that's a dog that we really want to meet. Hey, can I pet your dog?
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 Please.
With Renee and Allegra.
CIPYD. Yeah.
Welcome to Can I Pet Your Dog?
I'm Allegra Ringo, a dog owner.
And I'm Renee Colvert, a dog wanter. And this is our producer, Travis McElroy.
Hi.
And this is the podcast for unapologetic dog lovers. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Renee.
How are you doing?
I am
Having
good.
a great day.
How are you?
Great. Phew, thank goodness.
That's our podcast.
Yay, we did it. Why would I ask such a thing? Of course you're doing well. Okay, you guys, let's talk about what you've gotten yourselves into this episode. We have a segment that you guys know and love called Dogs We Met This Week. Then we have a segment called Name That Dog. Lex, what else we got?
We have a new segment we call Mutt Minute, and we also have a segment we're going to call A Celebration of Life.
Oh, I love that. And we've got a guest for you guys today. From the smash hit, Emmy-nominated show Better Call Saul, we've got, according to Patton Oswalt, TV's best villain, Julie Ann Emery.
Ooh.
Yeah, so stick around for that.
Now it's time for Dogs We Met This Week. Renee?
I don't, no, we're not a sound effects podcast. That's not necessary. We don't need it.
Are we one of those radio stations that's like Brian and the Fart?
Right.
Like, where there's sound effects like that?
What station is that has Brian and the Fart?
It's 106.1 in the early mornings. You probably wouldn't have heard it.
Nope, we don't need it. That's
I'm
the whole
Brian,
reason
and this is the Fart. Stupid. We're pretty good at this.
Not bad.
Should we rename the podcast? Tweet at us. Let us know at Brian and the Fart.
Stupid. It's going great, guys.
This is a recording late on a Friday, a little burnt out from the week episode. Renee.
Yes, let's hear about this
Yeah,
dog
stop
you met.
screwing
Okay,
around.
sorry. Yes, ma'am. Focused. Here we go.
Would you like to hear?
Okay, last one. I swear. That'll be it.
Guys, would you like to hear about a dog I met this week?
Of course they do.
Now, this is a virtual dog, but this is one of our listeners, Laura Portwood Stacer, also a friend of mine.
Oh.
She teaches media studies in New York City, and she has an adorable little Yorkie named Snoodle.
Buddy.
That's such a good name.
It's such a good name, right?
Yeah.
He's so adorable. And you guys, on Wet Dog Wednesday, she tweeted us a photo of him all wet in the bath with his big ears.
Come on.
We retweeted it. It's on our Twitter at CIPYD Podcast. And you guys, it is so cute. And yeah, the name Snoodle, pretty great, right?
You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Legs, I didn't double check with you. My dog is also from Wet Dog Wednesday. Wet Dog Wednesday was a huge hit.
I gotta say, you guys did a great job on Wet Dog Wednesday. I loved seeing the pictures of wet dogs.
The cutest. So I have selected Trey Smith. I believe, of course it was a yellow lab.
Sure.
But his was not in the bath or post bath. His was before the bath happened. So his dog Scully, his snout was full with mud, and his front two paws just full with mud. Scully, it's bath time. It's bath time for Scully.
But it sounds like Scully had a good time before that.
Come on, exactly.
That's so cute.
Adorable. Travis, who you got?
The dog I met, you guys are going to be mad at me.
Probably.
Did not catch her name.
Travis.
But I did get a picture.
Okay.
And it's the first time I've ever seen a dog like this, and I have not researched the breed. So if anyone knows what it is, please let me know.
Let's hear
It's
it.
like a miniature husky.
Oh.
And she was a tiny husky at the
I know
dog
what
park.
you mean.
And, I only know because a bigger husky came in, like a regular size, what you think of when you think of a husky, came in right after. And, the two of them ran around. And I was like, okay, she's not a puppy. She was not puppy proportion. She didn't have big paws. Her head wasn't a little too big.
Sure.
And then, because a husky puppy was also there. There were 3 husky-looking dogs.
Sounds like a great day at the dog park.
It was wonderful. We went on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
And Buttercup was, loving it. There was a lot of Buttercup-sized dogs there. I have another one here.
Now, here's your penalty for not getting this dog's name. What would you name this dog?
Ooh.
Oh, see, I thought
Great
about
penalty.
this. I would name,
Fate worse than death.
I was thinking about it, and the name that popped in my head was Sasha.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that.
I like it. She had some sass?
She was very confident
Okay.
for a smaller dog.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Okay.
were in the smaller end of the dog park. Man, it's the best. I will say this, I love both big and small dogs.
Sure.
But man, when you go into the big dog park, the dogs have these huge bellows, and it can be very intimidating when they play together. But when you watch little dogs like tackle each other, all I hear in my head is like yakety sax, and it's just and it's hard to be like intimidated as little dogs tackle each other.
Yeah.
My
this
favorite
little wiry black-haired dog and Buttercup just kept knocking each other over.
Aww.
It was my favorite.
Tumble's great. It's a great. Yeah. What's your favorite?
My favorite thing at the small dog park is when they see a big dog through the chain link fence, and then all the little dogs go, "We got this," and they all run in a pack and bark at the big dog. Very brave from behind the fence.
Very brave. Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. That's it for dogs we met this week.
Now it's time for Name That Dog!
How do we do, Travis?
Nailed it. Got it in one.
Our classic game show. Guys, we're branching into a lot of different areas this week. We now have a FM radio show.
Sure.
We have a game show.
Yep.
We're doing great.
And sound effects.
And sound effects.
Not bad. Okay, last one.
Oh my god.
Last one. It's terrible. If I were
gonna
listening
leave.
to this, I would turn it off immediately.
We're never going to get on NPR. now.
Never. And then when we do our E! True Hollywood story, they'll be like, "So why didn't it go?" And like, well,
When did things turn for the worse? Well, it would be episode 4, I would say.
Whatever happened to the
She's like, "No, but listen to this. You guys, I'm real good at it." We don't have time for this, but did you guys ever have fart tubes as kids?
No, what's that?
It's like a child's sippy cup, but then you put putty into it, and then
yes.
you push down on the
Those
putty.
are pretty fun.
You used to be able to get that, like Gak and Floam and those kinds of things
but
from
then it just
Nickelodeon.
has the, oh boy.
Were they called fart cups or you're calling them
I
that?
think ours was called a fart tube. I think,
Fart
but
tube.
I'm from Colorado Springs where we don't have a lot of originality. So whoever made it was
Well,
just
you
like,
know what
eh,
you're
it's a fart
getting.
tube. Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
But back to the segment at hand, which is called Name That Dog. On our Facebook page, our listener, Teresa Fairchild, reported that, her little 3-year-old kiddo, whose name is Wesley, they don't have a dog, but they have improvised with how to handle it. So she said that it's a little bit of a family ritual where Wesley will announce, "Grandma has left a gift." And then Wesley will go hide in the kitchen cabinet, and both, Teresa and her husband have to go find what Grandma left. I did air quotes. Grandma didn't really leave a gift. Yes, she didn't really leave a gift. They find Wesley. Wesley has transformed into a dog. They will scoop him up. "Oh, Grandma left us a dog." And then they will ask Wesley, "What is this dog's name?" And then Wesley has an array of names that he has come up with. Allegra, would you like to report?
I would love to. Here are some of Wesley's names so far.
One of these is, by the way, my favorite dog name ever.
Yeah.
And I will let the people at home guess which one that is.
Okay,
Okay,
you guys
okay.
guess. Okay. Hibiscus.
Oof.
Fur. That's Fur.
Great.
Stranger. Very mysterious. Tank and Flennerman.
Love it. I love it.
Where does a kid get Flinnerman from? Why is that the thing? It's a 3-year-old. What Flinnerman has he met before?
The best. Wesley's a
He's an insurance
genius.
agent.
It's the best. And I think, like, out of context, you're like, "Oh, those are just funny names." But if you really conceptualize coming over to somebody's house, they're like, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" And you just very matter of fact, they're like, "Flinnerman."
Flinnerman.
And the 3-year-old says Flennerman.
The cutest.
I love that.
Did you all have imaginary pets when you were little?
You know, I did, because we had dogs my whole life. So we had Barney and Molly and Breezy.
Oh, Breezy. That's a
Breezy,
cute
not
name.
bad. There's a cute little story behind that. So Barney was my parents' dog. Molly was my dog. I was obsessed with the musical Annie as a kid. And I wanted to name her Annie, but my folks were like, "Can you try harder?" And so I was like, "Fine. There's another orphan, and her name is Molly." So I just went through the list of like orphans and Annie. I'm like,
Sure.
Pepper. But Molly got it. And then my brother got a dog, golden retriever named Breezy. Breezy was named after my brother Brian is 5 years younger than I am, and there was a girl in. So we got Breezy when I was in 6th grade. Brian was in 2nd. There was a girl named Breezy in my class. She was a fast runner. Her real name was Brianne, but she was a fast runner, so she was nicknamed Breezy. So Brian named Breezy after his childhood crush, Breezy.
Oh, that is so cute.
And I thought that would, because Breezy was cool, because she
Yeah,
was
man.
a track star. So I thought that was going to make me real popular with Breezy. And I went in to report him like, "My brother named his dog after you." I didn't go quite as well as I thought it would. They're like, "Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Breezy, if you're
Yeah.
listening,
Yeah.
we hope you think Renee is cool now.
Thank you. Please, Breezy. That's all I've ever wanted."
Breezy, please, we
Yeah.
need this.
Yeah. That was a super long answer to no. I didn't have imaginary dogs. Did you?
Did you, Travis?
I did, But mine, as with most things that I do now in my adult life, was meant to manipulate.
Sure.
And when I was 6, I really wanted a dog.
Sure.
And my parents were like, well, you're 6. No.
Right.
My family before that was a cat family. My mom loved cats.
Oh.
But was actually semi-allergic to dogs.
Uh-oh.
And so at 6, I invented a dog, which I creatively named Spot.
Okay.
And then
no
just
fun
like
run.
would basically just parade in front of my parents, be like, "I am taking really good care of Spot right now. Oh, I'm feeding Spot. Oh, look how happy Spot is." And then eventually, through having to work really hard to convince my parents, by age 9, so 3
Whoa.
years, they eventually allowed me to get a dog. And my mom, because she was awesome,
Sure.
would just like take weekly injections to keep basically she like took medication so she didn't get super allergic.
Oh,
and then
so
just eventually grew
sweet.
accustomed to the dog and didn't have to keep
I
it.
also love to believe that your parents had a talk after they put you to bed one night. They're like, well, he is taking great care of that imaginary
Dude,
dog.
well,
is
so
good at
then the
that.
funny story is once I got the dog, my parents, I think somewhere have a home video saying, "And what happened to Spot?" And I just turned and said, "Oh, he dug to China." moved on with my life.
Sure.
Also, please don't ask stupid questions.
Oh, he dug to China. Come on, parents, wise up.
So did you have
Spot was never real.
Did you have Spot that whole time? Was it 3 years of Spot working on them?
I want to say it was like 2 solid years of Spot.
pretty good,
And then
yeah.
just on and off Spot to be like, still doing great.
Now,
He's still alive.
I also, did you and Spot ever have a spat? Did he ever
No,
misbehave?
Spot and I got along great.
Great.
He would go to preschool with me.
Yes.
And I would come home and talk about what a wonderful time he had at preschool, in kindergarten and elementary school. I was obsessed with it. The only way that I actually finally what convinced my parents is I did not sleep when I was a child. I would often stay out for like nights and nights and nights.
Right.
And my room was above my parents' room, and so they could hear me get up and walk around. And they were like, if you can stay in bed every day for like 6 months, you can get a dog. So I would just put a stack of books next to my bed and just read all night. And I had a star chart. That's the way to do anything.
Oh, those are great.
And I earned enough stars to get a dog.
Travis,
Very
I know
good.
this is late coming, but I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
I am too.
Good. Allegra, do you have kid stories?
I did not have an imaginary dog, but my little sister Sophia, when she was around 2.5, 3, went through a phase where she pretended to be a dog, like all the time. His name was Max. Her name was Max. The dog was named Max.
Sure.
And she would crawl around on the floor on all fours. She wanted her dinner in a bowl. She wanted her water in a bowl. And I think, if I remember correctly, my mom would kind of do it and be like, all right, it's fine. And we had,
I don't
You're
know,
eating.
kids.
As long as
You know
you're
what,
eating, that's fine.
I
it's
mean,
fine.
because kind of who cares, right? And we had this one family friend named Lou who was really into it. And when we'd go visit Lou, he'd give her everything on the floor and give her little toys and dinner on the floor, and she just loved it.
Oh, that is so. Now, did you like it as an older sister?
I did, because I'm 8 years older than Sophia, so I was old enough to find this cute and amusing.
Okay. Not old enough to be, not young enough to be like,
Like, oh, this
please
is so
don't.
lame. No. If my middle sister had done it, I think I probably would have been harder on her because we were closer and I was 3 years apart. You have like more to fight about.
Sure.
But 8 years apart, you're kind of like, oh, what a cute little kid. It's great.
So cute. I also, not being a parent at all, like, but you hear parents talk about like, I can't get my kid to eat. I think that would be one of my first go-tos. I'm like, you want to be a dog?
You're a
You wanna
dog,
be
it's on the floor?
A dog eats on the floor. Is that good?
I remember being both in love with dogs and fascinated by like everything dog. So it's
Yeah.
like eating. I think I demanded my food be put on a bowl on the floor a couple times and like crawling around and like
Sure.
when I found out about the snack puppy chow, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite snacks.
Yeah.
Even regardless of the name, it's so good.
Easily. If you guys have stories of you when you were a kid and your imaginary dogs, or how you named your dog when you were a kid, like your kid dog story.
I have one
names.
more question, and this is just a poll for the audience. Chime in, tweet at us at CIPYD podcast. When you see a dog, do you assume a gender right off the bat? Everybody assumes Buttercup is male. I think she's scruffy and has like a little puppy beard. And everyone's like, what's his name? And then I go, her name.
Sure.
Do you do that?
Well, there's that thing I've heard some people say that people assume dogs are male and cats are female. I don't know why.
Huh. Interesting. I always assume that cats are guys.
Really?
But
Guys.
I also assume that that guys are a little moody.
Oh.
Yeah. a little bit.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh boy, okay.
When you see a
wanna
cat,
talk
you're
about
like,
it? You want to talk about your
man.
feelings? You want to talk about your feelings, or you're going to keep acting like a jerk? Okay.
Wait.
Interesting.
Okay, wait. I thought you were going to say, like, you assume all dudes want to talk about their feelings. And I was going to say, like, well, Renee, you might be in the minority.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Julie Ann Emery from Better Call Saul about her dog. But first, here's a word from another Max Fun show.
Hey, Max Fun listeners, I'm Dave Holmes, and if you've been missing my show, International Waters, you've been missing this.
I am aroused, but I have zero idea.
Really?
I'm really, yeah, sorry. Name a British lady. Name a British food lady. Julia Childs.
I'm afraid I can't accept that. No, it's not Julie. It's no.
Come on, you must know your British food ladies.
International Waters, a panel show where U.S. and U.K. comedians battle for pop culture supremacy. Subscribe right now on iTunes or at MaximumFun.org.
You guys, we have such a treat for us today. Our guest is star of Better Call Saul. She plays Betsy Kettleman, and Patton Oswalt tweeted that she is the best villain in TV history. Give it up for Julie Ann Emery!
I think give it up for Patton Oswalt is what we're actually saying here.
I think you got it right. I also have some personal knowledge of Julie. I will also say the kindest person you will ever meet.
Aw, right back at you. Renee is a really good friend.
Julie. So we would love to talk to you. She's also Masters of Sex. Is that as
Yes,
well?
I just did a 2-episode arc on Masters of Sex with Allison Janney and Tate Donovan and Beau Bridges. All of my scenes were with those 3 people. It was amazing. Oh yeah, it was amazing. Adam Arkin directed my big episode. It was great.
That's insane.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was
right?
great. It was like an embarrassment of riches for sure.
So any logical group would be like, oh my God, tell us about that. But instead, we'd like to hear about your dog.
I'd rather talk about my dog.
A lot, right? A lot. So first, we want to hear about your dog and how you met him.
Okay, so Baxter is passed away 2 summers ago. Of old age, he lived a really long, wonderful, good life. We got Baxter at the anti-cruelty shelter in Chicago. My husband and I were not husband and wife yet. We were living together. And we went and found Baxter at the end of one of their days. I think it was a Friday, but there wasn't enough time to adopt him that day. And so the next morning, we were both theater actors in Chicago. And when you're a theater actor in Chicago, you do multiple jobs at once. So I was doing like a kid show in the mornings and then like a matinee and then an evening show. Sure. And so after the kid show in the morning, I was going there, but we were worried that someone else would take Baxter because we fell in love with him. His name wasn't Baxter yet. They didn't know what his name was. Okay. And so
did they have like a temporary shelter name for him?
No, they didn't. He had just come out that first day and there was no name for him. They found him on the street. He was starving. You could see all of his little ribs. And something we weren't necessarily setting out to find a big dog or a little dog. We had a yard at the time and we just knew we wanted an animal.
Right.
And it's something about him. I think we were just, the 3 of us were meant to be a family. It's something just really clicked. So my husband went right when the place opened because we had fallen in love with him. And they said, well, you can take him for a walk. You can't rent him until your girlfriend is here because everybody in the household has to be there, but you could take him out for a walk. So for 2 hours, he walked him in the rain in Chicago.
Just to hold him, like nobody else is taking this dog. We're getting Baxter.
So, but then when I got there, Kevin was like soaked. And I walked in all happy because I've been playing like Alice in Alice in Wonderland or something silly. I'm like, hi. And he's like, get inside. Get inside.
I love
Inside
his devotion,
now.
though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He just sat there with him and he's like, all these people would come by and say, that's a great dog. And he's like, he's mine. He's mine. I'm taking him.
You're not taking him.
Yeah. He was a sweet puppy. And the first day we brought him home, my husband, boyfriend at the time, my husband went to work and I was there with Baxter. We wanted to make sure one of us was there for most of the day.
Sure.
And it was lunchtime and I made myself a sandwich and he was just sort of warily following me around the apartment. And I sat down on the sofa. I put my sandwich on the coffee table. I picked up the TV remote. I turned on the television. I set the remote down on the coffee table and the sandwich was gone. And I looked up and Baxter was
like 2 feet in front of me with his mouth, or like it was stuffed in his mouth, but he was afraid to chew. He was like, "I didn't take your sandwich.
If this is a deal breaker, we can negotiate."
Yeah, there is no sandwich. There was no sandwich there. I don't know what you're talking about, lady. Yeah.
Baxter.
I know.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if we said this yet. Didn't we say that Baxter is he a full lab?
No, he's a lab mix, but they weren't sure exactly what the mix was.
Right.
There was a woman at one point on a farm that we used to leave him at when we had to go out of town for like a week at a time, and she was convinced he was mixed with Beagle.
Cute.
Yeah, I don't know, but he really does look pretty classic.
Yeah.
You know,
He looks
Renee
like
used to Baxter sit for us.
To
Yeah,
the
when
point
we were out
you
of
guys,
town.
where when they would come home, I my last day of saying goodbye to Baxter, every single time I would cry. I'm like, I'm gonna miss you.
You were his girlfriend.
I love
You were his
Baxter.
girlfriend.
We hung out a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
so sweet.
And you let him on the sofa. I know you did.
Yeah,
I know.
I did.
I could always
He
tell.
wasn't allowed on the sofa.
He wasn't allowed on the well because he was 75 pounds and our sofa wasn't. I mean, there was no room for us if he was on the sofa, so there were just some practicalities involved in
That's
that. Yeah.
fair.
And then I would
Yeah.
try to like get the hair off, but it wasn't
No,
an effective
no, no.
attempt. It wasn't an effective attempt.
No.
She's like, we know.
Yeah, he was a good boy.
Couch, Renee.
I thought you guys needed one. It seemed like you needed a new couch. So
It just needed a cover.
maybe not ask a lot of
Needed
questions.
a new cover. I got it at Target. It's great.
Don't worry about it. It was only $300. I just thought I'd pick it up for you.
It's fine.
It's a very Renee move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Baxter liked to sit on the couch.
Yes.
Did he have any other funny or weird behaviors?
He would hoard food from time to time. I think it's because he's starved. I know that's not funny, but I think it's because I don't know. For a long time, I would find food under his bed. When we first got him, he was 2, and we think he was 2, and he destroyed everything. I mean, he pulled the knobs off the stove.
Oh, whoa.
Oh.
We lived in one of those old 3 flats in Chicago, and the sink was open underneath the sink. There were no cabinets, so it was exposed. And he chewed a hole, like a giant monster took a bite out of the PVC pipe under the sink.
Thanks.
Yeah, Kevin, my other half, took the whole thing apart and took it to the hardware store and was like, "I need the metal version of whatever that is." He was like, and the guy was like, "What did this?" He looked at us like Bigfoot lived in our house or something.
Whoa.
Did
So
he eventually just stop?
yeah, he eventually grew out of it. I think part of it was anxiety, because he was in a new place. Although this went on for a couple of years, and labs take a long time to mature. So I think, like, I used to let him out when I got home into the backyard, and he would run like he was possessed. I think he just had a lot of energy and anxiety, and eventually we learned ways to sort of distract him. So every toy we brought in the house, he destroyed in 5 seconds. He once even destroyed a Kong. And
Yeah, Buttercup does that too.
yeah, thank you. Because people don't believe me when I say that. But I brought a Kong home and he ate it
And let's
in a
review-
day. It
And
was
you've
in
seen
little
Buttercup's
pieces.
size, where it's just like if they decide it's what they're going to do.
Yes.
It's what they're
It was
gonna
like
do.
a mission. So we started,
And just really quick, I think everybody knows what a Kong is, but Kong is like indestructible
Yeah, that's the claim
rubber.
to
Is
fame.
that what
That's
it's
the
made
claim.
on?
well, that's the guarantee is that it's indestructible.
assure
I mean,
you.
I took it in little bits to the pet store and I was like, my dog destroyed this.
Did they give you the refund?
No, they were like, that's not possible that your dog did that.
What
Okay.
a big thing to happen. You must have done
I mean,
this.
he was obviously chewed. I mean, obviously. I know. They were like, that's not possible.
You own a bear.
I know.
Come on.
Exactly.
Mom, if
So-
you're listening, we're not happy.
Yeah.
So
Give her a refund.
So this is going to sound like a bad parent thing, but what we finally wound up doing because we were going broke is with all the toys and the destruction of the stuff. We started putting treats in a 2-liter Coke bottle.
Oh.
Because Kevin was very into like Pepsis and Sprites.
Sure. Yeah.
And he would, play with it. And then we take it away from it at the end of the day and swap it out because the danger there is that once they chew it a lot, it can get rough edges and it might cut their mouth a little bit. But that little crapper, I mean, there was a day, this went on for like, I don't know, maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks. And I put it down one day and suddenly it wasn't rattling anymore. And I looked over and he had his mouth on the cap and he was turning the bottle with his paw. Wow. He learned how to open the bottle.
Get out of
Baxter.
Can you believe it? Wow. I was so upset because I was like, we found the answer. And it doesn't cost $150 a day.
Easy. and then
I mean,
turns
upset,
out
but also
crazy.
impressed, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's totally impressive. First, I was like, oh my God. I mean, he can't get in trouble. He's a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
What's interesting, so one of the easiest ways to like train a dog is to have another dog do something in front of them, and then they go, "Oh, okay, great." Do you think Baxter was watching people open the bottle and went,
Must have been, right?
I see."
Yes, I absolutely think that. I think he was watching me put the treats in the bottle, and he was like, "She's turning that
So
thing."
smart. And then eventually, when you guys couldn't open a jar, did you give it to Baxter? You want to take a stab, buddy? You want to give this a shot? Right.
Earn your keep around
I
here.
know, right? Be helpful. I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think up next, so right now, we're trying to figure out is I love big dogs. I live in an apartment. Would you recommend putting a lab into a Los Angeles apartment?
Well, I mean, we just talked about destructiveness.
I was going to say, you just said it took 2 years.
But destructiveness that's not based on how large or small your place is. That's just based on puppy energy. I mean, all puppies it takes time for them to sort of grow out of that.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't that destructive for 2 years. He was uber destructive for the first 6 months, and then it sort of started to wane a little
Eventually
bit.
got better.
Yeah. But I think it depends on if you can get them enough exercise. With a big dog especially, I think it matters a lot. If you can get them to the dog park, if you can get them to a dog run where they can run, and if they will run. Like,
Sure.
you know, when we first moved out here, I was taking him to the dog park and he chased the ball and chased the ball and chased the ball. And then one day I threw the ball and he looked at me and he was like, "You gonna go get that?"
I figured this out.
I don't
too.
know.
I figured this out.
Yeah.
Figured the bottle out. I know what's happening.
I don't know. That's our ball and you just threw it over there. So you might want to go get that.
If you want it so bad, I think you'll get it.
Figured out. Smart boy.
I know.
Yeah, really deviant.
So, if you can take them on hikes, if you can get them enough exercise, I think dogs really are pack animals and they just want to be with you. Yeah. We learned that with Baxter. We got him when we lived in Chicago. We were both doing theater there. Then my other half got a Broadway show in New York, and we didn't want to take him to New York because I thought the apartment will be tiny and it won't be good. So we took him to Tennessee and he wouldn't eat, and so I went and got him. I mean, it's just, I think once you're part of their pack, you're part of their pack. Once you're family, you're family. And if you can get them enough exercise, especially early on in their lives, then I think it's absolutely doable.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
There's also always just to jump in, there's also always the option of picking up like an 8 or 9 year old dog.
I was just
who
going
needs
to
a
say,
home.
Yes. Yeah.
I think 5 years old or older, just like up until I think about 5 years is the real like long-ish puppy stage.
Yeah.
My dog's 3. She's still like a total ball of energy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe an older, relaxed dog.
Sounded good.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and that dog would also be housebroken already and probably have gone through obedience school. I mean, we took Baxter back to obedience school just to get used to us, and I think that I highly recommend that for everybody. Even if the dog is obviously trained, just to like learn like a relationship with each other.
Totally. It's so helpful.
Yeah.
So smart.
But I don't know. I mean, I think dogs are very emotional beings. So if you can meet their needs, and you know, just because you don't have a yard, even if you have a big house in a yard, it doesn't mean your dog is getting the right amount of exercise a day.
Or
but you still have to
disciplined.
be dedicated to that yourself.
I love that.
Good point.
And how did you guys land on Baxter?
Okay. So, so Baxter Labs is in Chicago, and I was driving by one day and they had their big sign out and I was like, Baxter. And then I dreamed about it that night, and then I don't know, and then he responded to it. We were really concerned that he had a name and we didn't know what it was. So Kevin was just trying out lots of things to see if he answered to anything.
That's hilarious.
And then
considerate.
And then I know. Well, Kevin was very concerned that he would be confused, and so
That's sweet.
Then he did respond to Baxter. I'm sure nobody named him Baxter. Maybe his name was Max or something, but he responded to it, and so we were like, great.
Let's
so
try it.
I think it was more for us. It was less about what do we want a dog named, and more for us about who is he. I know that sounds a little tutti frutti,
No, it
but
doesn't.
But
We love it. We love it. I love it.
Please watch your
think
language,
it's great.
Julie.
I think that naming a dog is like the most naming any pet. I think it's like this like.
Oh yeah.
I gotta get it right.
Stare him in the eyeball. It's like every time I've gotten any pet, I've gone into it thinking I know exactly what I'll name them, and then I like, pick them up and go, none of those names make any sense.
yeah, exactly.
Except that I did know when we got Buttercup, the shelter had named her Hollyhock, and
no.
it was like, no.
Okay.
That is not.
I'm going to
correct.
dissent. I like that name.
Right.
It's a weird name. I kind of like it.
That's a hard name to correct. And
Yeah.
call.
I mean, how do you do that?
No.
Hollyhock. No. That's exactly where I just went to.
It sounds like you're doing Klingon at that
How do you have to, it has to be a name where you can shame them.
Yes.
Yeah. Baxter. Right, there it is. Yeah. I'm appalled.
How dare you?
I'm so disappointed. That always worked on him.
It's true.
I'm disappointed.
disappointed.
I'm sorry. You're right.
I'm not angry. I'm
I've
just
shamed
disappointed.
you. I've shamed our family.
I can't. You're right, because Hollyhock would be like, Hollyhock, how's my outfit?
Hollyhock. Bad.
Hawk McElroy. How could you?
Hello. Buttercup is a solid name. There's lots of good sounds in there.
Buttercup McElroy?
Buttercup.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Ooh. Now,
Travis just made Buttercup's face. When she's in
Yeah,
trouble.
he did. Pretty good face.
Nothing.
Because she's got giant eyeballs. That's
think-
my favorite
yeah.
thing about Buttercup. Is like as soon as you say her name, she goes.
We're now on 3 doggy faces.
Yeah.
Now. Exactly. In this one short podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They do a lot of dog faces.
Great that we're not doing a visual medium.
So, Julie, on the topic of names,
Yes.
here on Can I Pet Your Dog, we like to do a little exercise with our guests. So we like to name it's okay. Maybe exercise is
Is there a better word? I was
Sure,
going to say
improv
test.
game.
That's
A fun
not-
game?
it's a test. Maybe.
No pressure.
This is a test, Julie. I hope you're prepared.
This is more important than your SAT score.
Yeah,
Go.
it probably is, to be fair.
Well, obviously.
Just because the bar is very low. So we like to name a mixed breed we come up with, and you give that dog a name. So like Max or Hollyhock, name the dog, not the breed. So we're going to say you meet a dog who's a poodle mixed with a Weimaraner.
A Weimaraner.
And let's describe Weimaraner. What if we
Sure.
decide that breed is?
Weimaraners are a brownish/silvery breed of dogs. They have they're big dogs with long floppy ears.
Very shiny coat.
Very
Like,
shiny.
That's kind of their claim to fame.
Exactly.
In a greyhound land.
Yeah,
They
well-
sort of lean, sort of.
I always think like greyhound mixed with lab is
Yeah,
what I always
yeah,
picture.
yeah.
Where
Yes.
it's like they have a coat like a greyhound, but a body like a lab.
Yeah.
They're kind of a skinnier lab. If you ever see one, like you'll know it.
They're gorgeous.
But this is mixed with a poodle.
Yeah.
Oh, Reimer.
So I guess we get to
Are,
pick.
are we like a
Well, I like that.
poodle
Yeah.
Reimer? Like a Reimer?
Poodle Reimer's a funny.
Poomarana.
That's the word.
And then what? Yeah. So shiny and curly. What would we call?
So we need an individual.
So
name.
I feel like, okay, so poodles and Weimaraner. Like if that dog could talk in my head, it's British to me.
I can see that.
It's dignified. Is
Thinking
why.
Randall or something, but it has to be Randall, not Randall. Like
Randall.
Yes.
I love it. Those
Randall
close.
Clark.
Maybe
Barkington.
Randall Barkington.
That's a great
third.
I love giving dogs like titles, whether they're like Lord Randall Barkington of Puppydom. Like that's my favorite.
I think you nailed it. I think that's
pretty
exactly
good.
what that's what you call
passed.
that dog.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Flying colors. Julie, we could keep you here for at least 4 hours, but we will let you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
Telling
me.
us about Baxter and helping us appreciate that sometimes we outlive our dogs, but we can still celebrate them.
We do.
And,
I know. I
and-
still miss him in the mornings, but he had a long, good, happy life, and he made our lives so much better.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aw, I love it. Okay, so we'll all take a real quick cry break. And amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. Now, in honor of going back to school, we have a new segment for you guys called Mutt Minute, wherein we tell you about a dog breed in 1 minute. Now, to make this interesting, what we've done is Allegra and I have each, will assign each other a breed. I will assign Allegra big breeds. Allegra will assign me small breeds. And Travis, get this, the consequence. If we do not do our homework, we have to, so let's say I don't do my homework, I have to say something unfavorable about a big dog. That consequence is
Why
so
would you
steep.
not do your homework?
Precisely. That's, well,
It's an accountability
yeah,
thing.
That's it. That's all it is. That's
So
all
don't
it is.
worry. We did our homework this time.
And we're gonna try to make it interesting for you guys as well, where we all learn something. So we'll try to come up with breeds that maybe you haven't necessarily heard about. So to kick us off, Allegra, I have assigned her a breed called the Clumber Spaniel. All right, everybody, set your clocks.
you spell that?
I would love to. Clumber Spaniel.
Spaniel.
Good. All right. Allegra, are you ready?
I think I am. I'm really
right.
nervous, you guys.
You're gonna kill
I
it.
will give you your time
Thank you.
and begin.
The Clumber Spaniel is the largest of the Spaniels, which you may know, they're a type of hunting dog with floppy ears and a long coat. The Clumber Spaniel's medium size, it's mostly white, has yellow or orange markings. The American Kennel Club describes it as a, quote, long, low, substantial dog. And according to Wikipedia, it has a, quote, powerful nose, which I really liked. Also, according to Wikipedia, they enjoy curling up on the couch, eating, and sleeping.
Aw.
So they're believed to have originated in France, although the exact origins are unclear. Until the mid-19th century, it was reserved mostly for nobility. Queen Victoria actually wrote about them. One of her friends went hunting with his 7 Clumber Spaniels.
Oh boy.
Queen Victoria described them as, quote, dear, nice dogs. Many of those old hunting paintings depict Clumber Spaniels, which, now that I think about it, makes sense. As far as Clumber Spaniels in North America, first Clumber Spaniel listed in the American Kennel Club registry was Bustler in 1878. In recent years, their popularity has gone up, though we do not know why yet.
And time.
Wow! Nailed it! Allegra!
Thank you, guys.
Allegra, we have learned so much. Now, the way that I came up with this breed is I, almost on the daily now, I Google, big apartment dogs. According to Google, seems to think that they're really good for, like, being in an apartment. Just because maybe that snuggling thing you were talking about on the couch.
To relax.
Yeah. That was you have set the bar high.
Well, thank you very much. I gotta say, I had a good time doing this. I've never heard of a Clumber Spaniel, and you guys, we will tweet some photos of Clumber Spaniels so you know what they look like. We're at CIPYD Podcast on Twitter. They look a lot like other Spaniels you've seen, maybe Cocker Spaniels or Springer Spaniels, just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So it was super interesting to me. I'd never heard of these things.
So cute. And if you guys, obviously we want pictures of all your dogs, but particularly this week, if you have a Clumber Spaniel, let's see that photo.
I don't know if I've ever met one in real life.
Neither have I. Yeah. Which is why you got that assignment.
So for next week,
yes,
Renee,
I'm prepared.
Here is your small dog
Got my pen?
obscure breed.
Ready.
It is called, I believe this is pronounced Lancashire.
Oh, boy.
Or Lancashire Heeler.
Oh, boy.
It's spelled Lancashire. Second word, Heeler, Heeler.
Okay. Very nice.
Pretty cute.
Yeah. What can you describe aesthetically what they look like right now?
They're cute.
No, that's your job.
I know.
Hey, yeah.
Don't give her. Don't try to cheat, Renee. You have to do that.
Just wanted to write the first 10 minutes of my speech. 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
It
First
is
10 seconds.
Mutt Minute.
Also, to be fair, I only, I Googled small obscure dogs, and, so I just saw a picture and saw that it was small and cute. I
Okay.
didn't do any research beyond that, and I can't really tell you, so.
All right. I'm ready. I'm
Good
excited.
try cheating.
Okay.
But, no dice.
Hey, you guys, this is just for you. Allegra and Travis, go ahead and do something else. Guys, if you know about this braid, if you wanted to go ahead and tweet me some information.
Anyway, Travis, wait a minute.
Hold on.
I'll just go start dinner. Wait a minute. What's Renee doing?
Is she cheating? What is she doing? Awesome. All right. That wraps it up for Mutt Minute. All right, you guys. Now we have a segment called Celebration of Life. Here's the thing. We all know that humans outlast dogs. Just life expectancy, that's how it's gonna go. But we want to still be able to celebrate these dogs. So we've got a little tribute for you this week. And Allegra would like to tell you all about a dog named Uggie.
Guys, you probably know Uggie as the dog in the silent film The Artist, which won Best Picture a few years ago. Uggie died this week at age 13, but he had a long and very fruitful life, and his IMDb, much longer than mine, I will say.
He has an IMDb, Travis. Did you know that?
As well, he should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely does. He was very successful, had a pretty cool life. In addition to being in The Artist, he was also in Water for Elephants.
I did not know that.
Wow.
I remember seeing a dog like Uggie. I didn't know it was Uggie.
His name was Queenie
Cute.
in Water for Elephants. He's also played Racist Dog in a Key and Peele episode, which I think is a pretty cool credit.
If I know Uggie, and I think I do, that was his favorite role.
I think it's a pretty good credit, you guys.
It was a stretch. I was the one I had to research the most. It was very tough for me.
And he was also in the comedy movie The Campaign.
Aw.
So those are his biggest credits. And an interesting fact about Uggie, his trainer adopted him after Uggie was rejected by his original owners for being too wild. Joke's on those people. Uggie went on to have an amazing life.
Isn't that like when you hear about, like, they could have signed the Beatles?
Yep.
They said, no one will listen to this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Uggie, we loved having you around. Very happy to celebrate your life, and you're a good boy.
All right,
right, you guys, that about wraps it up for this episode. Yet again, we would love to see pictures of your dogs. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at CIPYD Podcast. And then on Facebook, we've got two of them for you on Facebook. One, we've got the Can I Pet Your Dog podcast, which is just a thing that you can like. But we also have a group called Can I Pet Your Dog? Just ask for a little membership. We will approve. And then that's where you can see kind of the bulk of everybody's dogs. So follow us on Twitter and show us your dogs on Facebook.
And thank you to everybody who's gone on iTunes and rated and reviewed, subscribed. If you haven't yet, it only takes a second. It's very, very little work, and it helps us out a lot. Very little will help us just fly up the iTunes charts. But we want to say thank you to Murphy Bryant, Tiffany C., Mina Brandywine. They have reviewed, and we appreciate that. Just click 5 stars and say, like, we love it. Thanks for talking about dogs, period. That's all. That's all you got to do.
Thank you to Max Fun for having us. We'd like to recommend that you listen to some other Max Fun podcasts. You can find them on MaximumFun.org. Some of our favorites are Sawbones, which is a cool podcast that goes into weird medical history. International Waters, which is a super fun comedy pop culture quiz show. And One Bad Mother, which delves into tales of motherhood. Thank you to Aaron Hagen for our theme song and Paige Weldon for our logo. I'm Allegra Ringo.
I'm Renee Colbert.
Can I pet your dog?
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.